In a peaceful forest where sunlight danced through the leaves and the breeze carried the scent of wildflowers, there lived a peacock named Rohan. His feathers were the brightest anyone had ever seen, shining with blue, green, gold, and even hints of violet. Every step he took looked like a royal parade, and whenever he fanned out his tail, the forest seemed to pause just to admire him. And Rohan loved it. Each morning, he walked proudly to the lake near the center of the forest. He would stare at his reflection in the water, admiring himself for hours. "How lucky this forest is," he would say aloud. "They get to look at me every day." Animals often passed by on their way to find food or play. But instead of greeting them kindly, Rohan would stop them with a dramatic pose. "Oh hello, squirrel. Have you come to admire my feathers again?" he'd say, fluffing his tail. "Or you, turtle. Don't be shy, stare a little longer." At first, the animals giggled. But soon, they grew tired of his constant bragging. They didn't hate Rohan, he was beautiful, after all, but they didn't enjoy being treated like his audience all the time. One day, a young hedgehog named Peacock stopped in front of Rohan. He looked curious and said, "But Peacock Rohan, what do you do with your beauty?" Rohan tilted his head, confused. "What do I do? I show it. That's the whole point." Peacock frowned slightly. "But when Mama Rabbit was hurt last week, you didn't come help. You just said your feathers might get scratched." Then he wandered off, leaving Rohan stunned. Now, deep in the forest, high up in a wise old banyan tree, lived an owl named Tara. Unlike Rohan, Tara didn't shine or sparkle. Her feathers were soft and plain brown, and she was usually quiet during the day. But everyone knew Tara was the wisest creature in the forest. She listened more than she spoke, and when she did speak, even the buzzing bees would quiet down. One evening, as the sun dipped below the trees and painted the sky orange and pink, Tara flew down near the lake for a drink. There she saw Rohan dancing by himself, practicing his poses in front of the water. "Good evening, Peacock," Tara said gently. "Oh, good evening," Rohan replied, though he didn't stop posing. "Did you come to admire the most beautiful feathers in the forest?" Tara tilted her head. "Your feathers are lovely, Rohan. But tell me, besides beauty, what else do you bring to the forest?" Rohan blinked. "What else? What more do I need to bring? Isn't being beautiful enough?" Tara smiled softly but said nothing more. She flew away, leaving Rohan a bit confused. That night, Rohan kept thinking about her question. What did he bring to the forest, besides his looks? He shrugged it off. "She's just jealous," he mumbled. "Not everyone can be this stunning." But deep down, something began to itch, a strange feeling he hadn't known before, doubt. The next morning, Rohan strutted past the squirrel, who was planting seeds. The squirrel waved politely, but Rohan just nodded, assuming the squirrel was once again distracted by his beauty. Further ahead, he saw a line of ants helping a fallen beetle carry food. Even the tiniest creatures were doing something helpful. Rohan suddenly felt out of place, like a colorful statue watching others live. Later, he overheard two little ducklings talking near the stream. "I want to be like Owl Tara when I grow up," one chirped. "She's so wise and helpful." "But I thought everyone wanted to be like Peacock Rohan," the other asked. The first duckling shrugged. "He's pretty. But Tara matters." That sentence clung to Rohan like a thorn. Then one afternoon, dark clouds began to gather above the forest. The wind picked up, shaking leaves loose from their branches. Birds flew low, and animals hurried to their shelters. A storm was coming. The elders, like Granny Tortoise and Uncle Badger, were guiding the young ones to safety. Even Tara had flown down to help a blind mole find shelter. But where was Rohan? The rain poured heavily, turning the forest floor into rivers of mud. Thunder roared, and trees swayed wildly. Rohan, caught far from shelter, rushed to hide under a bush. His feathers, once shiny and perfect, became soaked and heavy. Mud splashed on his tail, and his bright colors turned dull and dark. As he shivered beneath the leaves, he heard a tiny cry. Looking out, he saw a baby rabbit trapped in a puddle. Its feet were stuck in the mud, and it couldn't move. The wind howled, and the little rabbit was alone and frightened. Rohan hesitated. He looked down at his feathers, now messy and ruined. Helping would mean getting even dirtier. But then, he remembered Tara's question. And little Piku's words. Without thinking further, he stepped out into the rain. He carefully made his way to the rabbit and used his beak to loosen the mud. Slowly, he pulled the baby free and carried it on his back to a hollow under a tree where other animals were hiding. The baby rabbit's mother cried in relief and hugged Rohan tightly. More animals watched as Rohan, soaked and muddy, helped others too, guiding a lost fawn, offering cover with his wings, and even using his tail to keep small birds warm. And for the first time, Rohan felt something new. Not pride. Not admiration. But connection. When the storm finally passed, the forest lit up with golden sunlight. The animals came out, shaking off the water and checking on each other. And then, something unexpected happened. One by one, they gathered around Rohan not to admire his feathers, but to thank him. "You saved my baby," whispered the rabbit. "You shared your warmth," said a sparrow. "You were brave when we needed you," added a deer. Rohan didn't know what to say. He looked down at his feathers, no longer bright, no longer perfect. But for the first time, he felt something better than admiration. He felt respected. Loved. Later that evening, Tara flew down to meet him again. "So, Rohan," she said, "do you know the answer now?" Rohan nodded. "Yes. Beauty may catch the eye, but kindness touches the heart." Tara smiled. "Now you truly shine." From that day on, Rohan was still proud of his feathers, but he no longer showed them off just for attention. He used them to help, to shelter, and to protect. And every animal in the forest, young and old, knew that true beauty wasn't just in how someone looked, but in how they cared for others. Even the trees whispered his name with pride, and the winds carried stories of the peacock who had once been proud, but became something much more, a friend. Each year, when spring returned and the forest blossomed, the animals celebrated what they called the Day of True Colors. They gathered not to praise Rohan's feathers, but to tell stories of courage, kindness, and the beauty that lives within each of them. And Rohan? He stood quietly at the back, feathers neatly folded, smiling not because others looked at him, but because he had learned to see beauty in everyone else. Moral of the story: true beauty lies within, not in how we look, but in how we treat those around us. If you loved this story, give it a like, leave a comment about your favorite part, and don't forget to subscribe for more magical tales that warm the heart and teach powerful lessons. Every week, a new story waits for you. See you next time.